guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm excited because I feel like I'm gonna learn some new things with our guest today. Because today we're talking all about style and showing up as your brand, right? The face of your brand. And to help us kind of sift through this conversation and get a little bit of more knowledge and understanding about how we can effectively show up as the face of our brand and our authentic selves, I have with us today Jasie Style. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello. How
Hey,
everyone?
I'm so excited you're here. I was telling her before we hit the record button, I had to step my game up. I had to put on a little cute outfit because I said I know she gonna come and tell us how to show up as our authentic selves and our style and be that face of our brand that we all want to be. So before we get into all that, I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are and what you do and kind of how you're an expert in this industry.
Okay, so hey everyone, I am Jasie. I am a stylist here in LA. Quick little intro about me. I will say up until now, I've been known as a styling and for styling over the last past years in LA. But I'm so much more than that, and I want to make sure that my own brand aligns with who I am. So I am an entrepreneur who makes branding shoots easy for other entrepreneurs. In my experience, I've worked on branding shoots with billion-dollar and trillion-dollar brands, companies. And what I do is I peep and repeat what I see them do, and I go ahead and do it in my own business for my own branding shoots. That has set the standard for branding shoots for me. It's been set really high. And so, working with these global brands has set the standard really high for me for branding shoots. And so, I like to say when Travis Scott says, "Who put this thing together? I'm the glue." That's pretty much who I am when it comes to branding shoots for other entrepreneurs.
I love that. And I think that a lot of people don't even realize they need someone like you. I have done several branded like photo shoots for content for my business, things we've used on social media, things we've used for courses, flyers, etc. And when I tell you some pictures will never see the light of day, y'all. Money just was spent. Y'all ain't gonna never see it, can't pay me to see it because it was rough. I've gone all the way from low end having my husband go out and take pictures, and I'm just like take as many as you can, and hopefully some of them will be good, to hiring a professional, renting space, all the things. And so I love that we're gonna kind of talk about the importance of it, but also some things to keep in mind and make sure that we're not wasting money. We're not out here just hoping that something becomes of this thing, this project that we put together. So let's talk a little bit about style in general for a second, because I'm gonna be honest, y'all. This outfit kind of cute, but I only got a couple of these in the closet, because my background is in the medical field. So I had in my closet I had scrubs, and I had church outfits, and I had club outfits. That was it. And so when I switched to business, I didn't have any clothes to wear. So when you work with a client that is starting from like zero, we don't even know what to wear. They might be wearing like yoga pants every day. How do you help them prepare to show up as the face of their brand?
Okay, so I absolutely love this question because many people are in that same space that you just mentioned where they have their wardrobe for areas of their lives, but not for them as an entrepreneur, as a boss or a business, as a boss or a leader in their business. And so what I do is I pretty much like have a conversation and get into their brains to see what it is that they see for themselves as a leader, as a boss, as an entrepreneur. And so I listen to the words. Many people usually are not able to speak on it from a style perspective, but that's why I'm here to pretty much like translate the things that you tell me from how you see yourself as a boss, translate it into style. And then we kind of go into a conversation like, hey, like, how do you like pretty much like kind of focusing on what areas of your life have you shown up really big for? Most of the times it's like a birthday or if you're going on vacation. And so from that stance, they kind of have an idea of how they like to look like in their higher self version. And we're able to bring that into the business. I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, they kind of are in a transitional phase where they haven't fully stepped in to the style side as a boss. And so they're more so thinking of like their lifestyle. So I know a lot of ladies like us, Black women, we sometimes tend to think more outside of business when it comes to getting dressed for your business. And so we start there. to see kind of what they're thinking. But then through conversations, by knowing who it is that you're talking to, who is your audience, who do you want to connect with, I'm able to kind of connect those dots for them. So if you, for example, I heard you say church. Let's say if you know how to show up, like for Easter is coming up. And so
Okay, now.
put on, right, you know what to put on to really make a statement for that day. I will kind of like get into your mind and see what that looks like for you, and then we'll have a conversation to connect that with how your audience can connect with that side of you in your business.
I love that because I think for me, one of the mistakes I made early on when I was trying to cultivate my own personal brand style is I would see pictures, and I'll just be real. I know that this podcast and the visual podcast goes out to whoever, but I'm a Black woman. And the one thing that I did that was a mistake is I went on social media to people that I thought were doing big business, but most of them were white, blonde headed women. And I would be like, I want to look like that because people are, hearting their pictures and they're liking their stuff. And I would go out and try to find that look. And I called it soccer mom chic. And that's what I literally said, soccer mom chic. Like they look comfortable, but they look approachable, but they look professional. And when I tell you how much money I wasted on soccer mom chic, because it did not translate for me. It did not look good. And so something that I did after that was I kind of was like, okay, for one, my body type mattered and I didn't realize it. I wasn't skinny. I needed to find things that fit my body in a way that I wanted to present. But then I also was like, I need to find people that look like me. And I now I realize I like the big puffy sleeves. I like the over the top. I like the sparkle when I'm on stage. Like I want that look. And that is so far from soccer mom chic. So what are some things we should keep in mind? Because like I said, I mentioned like our body shape, but what are some other things that we should kind of think about before we start investing in like a new business boss up wardrobe?
This makes a great point. One of the things that I can like speak to this from a client that I had who's also an entrepreneur. When we first had our first like consultation conversation, I wanted to know like kind of how does she want to present herself as a boss in her business. She was on a rebrand, and so one of the things she said like she wanted to be like classic or timeless, bold and sexy. Now,
Okay, now.
right. Now, with that, and she wanted something like a corset type of a dress for this. And so I took that information, but also understanding like you are reaching her audience are professionals. You're reaching professionals, and it's really important to understand that for this example, the corset dress does not speak the same to the professionals that you want to reach out to. That speaks more to just like an Instagram influencer or an IG model or just on your own personal page. That definitely makes a statement. But in your business, it's important to remember who it is that you're speaking to and who it is that you're trying to attract. And so, and how you want them to perceive you. And so your question is, what are some things that you should keep in mind? It's basically that, like who it is that you're talking to. If your audience is other entrepreneurs or other professionals, then you want to give that image. You want to have that brand image for your business. If you are a fitness or you may be a soccer coach, and then having a image that is more comfortable, more relaxed, a little scaled down is appropriate. And so for me, it's most important to know who it is that you're speaking to. And I learned this myself by working with billion-dollar brands on their campaign shoots. And I peep and repeat. And so I see that they're making sure, to put it in context, I worked on a shoot for Adobe, one of the brands that they have, and they were wanting to reach people like editors, photographers, people that work like in that industry. And so their branding, the people that I had to style for that shoot, they were very much so like everyday style, everyday look. It wasn't anything over the top because that doesn't really connect with their audience. Their people are everyday people who are buying their product. And so it's really important to think first about who it is that you want to attract, and then start from there, kind of like work backwards from there and how you can show up for them in the best way that you can as a boss.
Okay. I like that. So I want to ask you a question just to get your opinion on this
Let's go.
because I think that because I know most of my audience are women, the way that people perceive high performing executive, industry expert women is, very like you said kind of classic, clean, fresh, but also in heels. I'm just going to be real. These heels, we're going to talk about it.
Mhm.
What is your opinion because they're not comfortable for most of us, but yet we do want to show up and show out. And so I'm like, if we are out here networking, if we are out here speaking, doing business, getting things done, do we need to? And I'm just gonna be real. I know it's kind of superficial, but do we need to wear the heels? Because that's how they expect us to show up.
I think so too. I love this question also. To be honest, it's really about you. For me, I start from the place of not comfort, but confidence. And your
Okay.
comfort is built into that confidence. You're most like you can't be confident if you're not really comfortable. Like we gonna know. Everybody gonna know. And so with saying that, I always advise for ladies to start from a place of confidence. And so if you're not confident in heels, wearing heels, and then don't wear heels, or find a heel that is comfortable for you, that you feel confident walking around in. I do strongly believe like it depends on the brand. If you have more of a laid back, like chill, homegirl, girl next door type of a brand and vibe, and that's the people that you want to attract, then wearing some heels does not probably align and may intimidate them and may not really make them really want to gravitate to your brand because they don't feel that connection. But if you're speaking to people who are ambitious and are have bigger goals and have a bigger vision for themselves, and then I truly, honestly believe, keeping it real, it's important for you to show up as that aspiration, as that inspiration that they're looking to, as for somebody to guide them through whatever process that you're helping them through. And so I say do it, but do it in a way in which you can be confident and comfortable.
I like that. That makes sense because I was like, man, I be wanting to wear them heels. I see my coaches out there with these big old stilettos. I was like, but ain't no way. I would be thinking of my feet at all times. But I will compromise. I'll get a chunky heel or something like that because I'm like, I like to move around. I like to, I might want to run, do something
Period.
crazy. And I'm like, them heels, I don't know how. I literally, when they're talking, all I'm thinking is like, how are you doing this? Like, we're 30 minutes in. How are you still standing? And so, yeah, I love that you said it comes from confidence first because I think most of, especially my plus size fam, know of wearing them Spanx or something, cutting off the circulation, and we can't show up confidently because we are not comfortable. Hey, man, we are not comfortable. You sitting there like, Lord, I can't breathe.
Got to switch sides, switch seats, like oof,
Yes, it got so bad one time that I literally midway through an event took that thing off, came back. I was like, hopefully I didn't see everybody I need to see because I cannot breathe. Look, we getting real today, y'all. We go just be real. For my gentlemen listening, look, I'm sure y'all wear something that ain't comfortable too. Maybe them church shoes pinching your
yeah.
feet too tight.
Dress
That's what we
shoes
mean. You
for
got to be
men,
comfortable.
dress shirts for men, blazers are not always comfortable, suits are not always comfortable, dresses are not always like thin clothes are not always comfortable. But
Yes.
sometimes like beauty is pain. We all know this, and sometimes we got to do what we need to do what we need to do.
Okay, look, she's telling us the facts. Like it ain't always gonna be comfortable. We gonna try our best, but it is coming from a place of confidence first. And I will ask too, do you think there's any like staples that we need to have in our wardrobe when it comes to branding? Especially, and I'll just kind of break it down. Most of our audience are like coaches and consultants, so they're having to show up in very quote unquote professional spaces. So ties, blazers, like you said, even vests, dresses, that type of thing. Are there any kind of staples we need to have in our wardrobe, especially if we're on a budget? We only get a couple of things. What are some things that you think like, hey, these things can be used in multiple ways. You can make it work for you.
Okay, so let me ask you a question before I answer this. I want to make sure I answer it in the best way. So, for a lot of the audience that you spoke of, the coaches and consultants, when they're showing up every day, are they showing up in person or is it more so on screen like we are right now?
I think it would be a combination of both because, like, while I work a lot with virtual clients. I do still show up to speak in person. I still show up at networking events and things like that in person. So it'd probably be a combination of both.
Okay. So to keep it really simple and keep it budget friendly, affordable, what I strongly recommend is to invest in different tops that can be worn under pieces that are going to be layered. So we spoke about blazers. So blazers are sometimes worn. Blazers are, I think, a staple, and not just any basic blazer. I think it's important to get a blazer that you feel confident in, that makes you feel like your best self, so that you can speak and present powerfully. But blazers, shirts, high neck. I love a high or mock neck, a high neck like a tank top or a high neck t-shirt. Really like your basic tees and tanks will take you so far. And when I say basic, I mean like a white, nude, neutral colors. Will take you so far just in different styles that they have. They have some short sleeve ones, they have some no sleeve ones. Um, Long sleeve ones. Like it's so many options. They have button up, they have crop. It's so many places and spaces that you can go just with really investing in some essential elevated pieces like tops, pants, a good denim, a wide leg denim, I feel like is strongly a statement, a staple that pairs well with the type of tees and tanks that I mentioned, as well as you can throw a blazer on top or a jacket on top. Um, some people may have dusters or like longer layering pieces that just really give you like a put together look. For me, the biggest component of really helping you to really look like a professional while you are doing your thing is to maybe have like a layering piece and not just only have like a regular basic tee because then you don't really look like the expert. You don't look really look like the expert. You want to look like that to match what you're speaking at all times.
I love that because it feels like you can dress it up and dress it down, which
Absolutely.
is what I like. I really think that makes sense because I was like, okay, if I have the tee on with the pants, I can put it on some sneakers, but then I can throw on some heels and then I can put on a blazer and I'm good to go. So I love that. I can kind of even go from early in the day to night, and still wear the same piece. So that makes sense. Thank you.
And another thing, so not only like the day to night component, but like event to event, not all events are created equally. Some events are more upscale and more elevated, and you need to show up with this blazer. Some are more chilled and relaxed, where you are coming to be like intimate and kind of casual, and where those pieces still kind of flow within all of those spaces. And I know like having like flexibility in your wardrobe or just like pieces that you can kind of change to fit whatever occasion is going on, the tees and tanks, basic neutral colors, different necklines, different openings. Like we got something totally different going on here versus if I had it closed up to here. Will definitely give you like what you need, the basics and the staples that you need to, show up as this boss without too much pressure and investing too much in your
Yeah.
wardrobe right now.
I like it. That sounds like, and it sounds too like because you're mixing and mixing and
You got
matching. Like it's versatile, which is really cool. Because yeah, you can pair them differently. So okay, I'm getting some ideas in my head. All right, I like that.
yeah.
So one of the questions I also have for you, because I feel like I've had mixed reviews on this, especially being a Black woman who loves me some wigs and weaves and things. I've had coaches that say you need to look the same every day so that people can recognize you. And then I've had others that say, like, if that's who part of your brand and who you are, then that's fine. So what is your opinion on kind of showing up consistently? So like if I look like this today with the big hair, with the dressy outfit, should I always show up like that? Or could I have, straight hair and a dress down outfit? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, and so I'm gonna always revert back to confidence, right? What do you feel most confident in? And so, what I do believe is when it's for the big moments, like a branding shoot, or you're speaking in front of someone, or an audience, or you're presenting, you're hosting something. When it's a big moment, then you should always show up as your best self, kind of like how you're presenting today, right? Show up as your best self. But if it's your like everyday, day to day, and that's not how you are every day, I'm going to say absolutely not. However, I think that you should still maintain a constant element of that same higher dressing or higher self dressing. And so if you show up in a blazer, you look really put together, really polished and bomb presenting, and then then the next day or the next week, or whatever, you're not presenting, I think you still need to show up in an elevated way. And so you can maybe throw on the tees and the tanks that I was just speaking about, where you still look really put together, but it's not doing the most. It's like your comfort zone of how you can show up and go do your errands or have your calls or whatever it is that you do. So I feel
I
like
love
I
that.
literally, I'm both. Yes, you need to show up consistently looking good because, like, it's just so important to really look like they're professional and the boss of your business, someone that people can trust and an expert, so that people can trust and listen to what you say and work with you. And if you are coming up looking like they looking, no shade, but I'm just saying what it is. If you come on and presenting yourself looking like how they're looking, would you trust that person to guide you to the next level? I think that's something that we have to think. Would you trust that person to guide you to the next level? Ladies, when somebody come up to you and they say, hey, I do hair, and their hair isn't done, are you going to trust them to do your hair? You know what I'm saying? And so I
Okay,
think
now.
that you have to think about, from the big moments to the moments in between. There should be some line of consistency, but you don't have to do the most every day. But you should still show up in the best way that you can, consistently.
I love that. I had to learn that kind of the hard way. I had a coach kind of pull me to the side one time because I used to be like, I want to show the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty, the real life. And I did a live. It still exists, guys. If you go to my business page and you search real far back a couple years ago, I literally was doing, I think it was a live, and I'm in my pajamas and a shower cap, y'all. And I was like, y'all, it's rough out here today. And it was like, don't do that again. I was like, so yeah, now I had to learn, yes, I can show transparency, but I still need to look professional because, like you said, optics matter. People will be like, oh, she look a little too messed up. I don't want to look like that on a day to day basis. And so now I'm like, okay, I at least need to, look decent, so that people can, actually hear what I'm saying and not just be focused on what I'm wearing or lack thereof.
Yes, especially in this social media time. Like, we this is first. What we see is first. And a lot of people gonna
Yeah,
keep on going by because what they see don't connect and don't register that you can actually help them. And so that's why I said, like, you don't have to show up in the most every day, but every day you need to show up and look really presentable. And those staple pieces help you do that effortlly with
I
what you
love that.
already.
Exactly. Yeah, what you already have is the key because yeah, sometimes you gotta go to the back of that closet and make
You
something
need
work.
to. Yes, pull that off in the front and see what you can put together and put it on. You're gonna feel confident.
I love that. And so, if someone is struggling, like I said, when I first started, I definitely needed help. I remember I had somebody do like a virtual style thing with me. She was a stylist, and she asked me to like pull some outfits that I resonated with. I just threw some things together, and then she asked me, like you were saying, like what you want to look like. And then I went ahead and we put some together some pieces based on what I had, which was a good stepping stone for me. What do you think? Like, I guess tell the people what are some options to get some help because what you're saying is great and they can kind of sort of figure it out. But if you are not good at style, like you're still gonna be overwhelmed eventually. So who do we reach out to help us put all this stuff together for us?
So I'm gonna shamelessly plug myself.
Girl, you better do it.
First and foremost, right? I'm gonna shamelessly plug myself first and foremost because I have fought through this process or through this problem rather. And I know everyone is not looking for the big moment. Look, we're trying to get through the moments in between right now. And so I put together a starter kit to do exactly what we're talking about right now, to basically help you to stop feeling stuck and start showing up as that boss, as that expert, as that leader that you are in your field. And it essentially is a space where you come and I like share different links to tanks, tees, different styles that fit different body types, that fit different occasions, that's already created, done for you. And then I also share, in addition to that, I also share inspiration that you can looks that you can recreate yourself using the pieces, these tops and tanks that we are speaking about, using those pieces that you can recreate to show up effortlessly, using the pieces that you already have, like jeans or trousers or blazers and things like that that you already have, but put it together in a new way, in a in style, current style, way. That's the first thing I'm going to definitely recommend in terms of like actually how to do it, so that you're not trying to piece things together, figuring it all out yourself. But other options that you can take is always going on to whatever social media that you love and going to the pages of people who you actually like, or finding people who have your same body type. If you find someone that has your same body type and you really like their style, that is a great place to also start to curate your own style and know kind of what works for you and not have to do as much trial and error. But it is so important to know that you are not copying and pasting what they're doing, because they're doing it for their brand and for their audience. You are doing it for your brand and for your audience. So while you do get the inspiration to know how you can put something together based on that body type, it's also important that you remember who you are, who you're speaking to, and how they're going to connect with that before you just go and copy and paste what someone else does or did.
Yeah, I feel you. That copy and paste gets you every time. People try it, and you're like, "Why they don't look right on me?" It's because it won't meant for you, baby.
I,
Why is your audience not responding? Because it's not authentic to who you are.
it's
So
not.
yeah,
or you don't have that same personality. Maybe this person is way more outgoing or bubbly, and it just speaks through from that stance, and you are more reserved. And so this bright, bold outfit ain't gonna make you feel confident once you put it on, even though it looks so good, because that's not aligned with your brand. And so everything is always gonna come back to who you talking to, who's your audience, and your brand, and keeping that in mind when you're looking for inspiration. Or don't look for no inspiration and pull up and get the starter kit so that you can start to like purchasing. You literally within less than a week, you can have your items, these new shirts and tees and tanks, and start wearing the looks that are already created for you. I always try to make things as effortless and mindless as possible. And this is like the only way that I know of that's out there that you don't have to think about what or where or when and how, if it's just already done for you.
I love that. Like, y'all better use these resources. I'm always with the plug. Like, go ahead and tell me because I want to know how to get it done, especially when you're doing it and you know the person's an expert. Because there's a lot of other little companies out here where some random person or AI is putting together looks, but they don't get to talk to you. They don't get to understand the goals you have. Because sometimes they ask you, like, what do you like to wear? Well, that's the whole issue, ain't it? I don't know. I don't know. So that doesn't work for me. They're like, do you like this or that? And it's like, well, I don't like neither, but you don't have to pick. So I love that they can talk to a real person that understands their brand, their mission, their budget, and where they want to go, and then get realistic things that they can do now to add to their wardrobe. Because it is a process. I think about twice a year, I go and start looking at kind of where do I want to appear and what am I going to wear. Because I don't like waiting till that event to try to put something together. And so it's going to be an ever evolving style because as you scale up your business, so too can you scale up your wardrobe, amen. Because some of them real nice pieces, some of them nice pieces a little pricey, so you got to scale up first to get it. I know one of my coaches has a stylist that like is on deck. I even messaged her. I was like, I like what you do. One day I'll get to work with you. One day.
Seriously. And I love to hear that your I don't know your coach, but a coach that has a stylist, because my whole, again, another reason why I'm so passionate about what I do and working with entrepreneurs is because that takes a lot of mind space and effort and energy to think about what you're going to wear when something big is coming up, when you are a part of that something big and probably putting it together or part of putting the pieces together. And so that's taking time away from doing the things that you're good at, like your zone of genius. And you're just able to have somebody step in for you and make sure that you look how you're supposed to be looking or how you want to look to go and do your thing. So I love to hear that. And I want others to hear that. Also, a lot of people that we see on screens, whatever screen, if it's your phone screen or a TV screen or movie screen, a lot of them have stylists to propel their brand forward, literally. Not even just celebrities, like people that are in position of powers that are really busy. They hire people like me so that they can focus on what they're doing and know that they're gonna look good regardless.
Amen to that. Like sometimes you got to think about what you want to invest in. This might not have been on your original business plan, but you may need it.
Mhm.
And and I think too, we talk about investments on this podcast because I don't want people to think of costs because it's an investment, it's a return on investment to have a stylist. Because if you are out here and you happen to get in spaces and you get in the rooms where things are happening and you show up the wrong way, and again, you have that second to make that impression, and people don't even take you seriously because of your outfit, think about how much money you will lose because you don't want to invest in someone to support you and making sure that you show up the way you want to show up. Okay. So we got to kind of change our frame of thinking like, oh, I ain't trying to be spending my money on no outfits. Hold on now. We're not spending our money on outfits. We're spending our money. We're investing in our brand, in our mission, in our goals, in our legacy. There's a difference. And the reason why we're talking mostly about women right now is because if you watch a lot of the big coaches that are men, they even talk about, look, wardrobe's so important. They talk about the fact that they don't like spending time thinking about it. So they wear that same gray shirt, same black shirt, same hat. But women, but I'll be real, I've talked to many women at different levels of their business and they're like, that don't work for us. It just don't. If we show up in the same green dress every time, somebody gonna be like, ma'am. Now we can show up in the same color. I met one lady who always wore gold. It was beautiful on her, but it was a different gold,
Every
like gold outfit every time. So with women, there's a different expectation. There's we just understand fashion a little differently, and so yes, we can't get away with that same white tee, black tee, gray tee. And if we're gonna have to wear clothes, which we do because this is where we live in, invest in someone that can make you show up in excellence, show up with confidence, show up and really be able to make the kind of deals and headway with their business that you want to make. So that's what I want you to get out of this podcast, because I know we talking, y'all like, girl, this just closed. No, it's not. It's not just closed. I promise you. When I stepped up my style, I stepped up my price. I stepped up my clientele. All of that went up with it. Okay. Amen, amen, amen. So we
Okay.
did that music, like that black soul music. Dong dong. It stepped up, and yes, it did. Dong dong. Yes, it did. Amen. When the clothes go up, the
Okay.
prices go up. All right.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we cutting up today. We cutting up.
Seriously, it's the you're only speaking the truth. And I can say this also, like it's definitely an investment. That's why like I mentioned like some of the really big brands. I've only mentioned Adobe, but these billion-dollar brands that I work with, they bring on a stylist because they know that that's so important, because that's a part of communication. Like your style is you communicating. It's the nonverbal communication, not just your body language, but how you actually are showing up. And if these big brands, which I know we all want to grow our own brands into these levels, if these big brands are doing it, they're seeing that the value is it, that they're going to bring me on for 4 or 5 figures to get it done for them, then absolutely we need to adopt that same mindset. And that's why I say I peep and repeat. If they see
Okay.
it's important, then it has to be a big importance if these global brands are doing it, making sure that they're reaching their audience the way that they need to.
I love it. Look, we done talked about a lot, and I know some of you probably are like, I want to know more about these brand photo shoots. Join the IROC family, because she's coming back doing a master class with us, but you got to register to attend. So make sure you do that, because she'll be in the house with us talking about the whole branded shoot, which is the next level of this. Once you get your outfits together, we're going to talk about actually doing the things. But thank you so much for being here. Before we go, I want to give you an opportunity to give any final thoughts, but also let people know how to get in touch with you, because I know somebody's ready to DM you right now.
So, thank you. Number one, thank you so much for having me on here. I am going to leave you all with this. For me, I'm always preaching about being the face of your brand. Show up as the face of your brand, or become the face of your brand. And it took me a while to understand the impact and really what I get from being in front of my brand. And so I want you all to know that not only is it important to show up every day, but the way that you show up definitely matters. And when you start to invest in yourself and elevate your own wardrobe, or getting pieces that allow you to really show up effortlessly and confidently, you're going to also up your prices. You're also going to up your clientele. You're just going to elevate the whole landscape of your brand and your business as a whole. And you're going to feel confident in doing so. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't feel so confident in taking those next steps to like up the prices or reach out to or work with different higher brands or companies or clients, because they don't see themselves as that boss yet. And so when you start to, invest in your wardrobe and get some pieces that help you to stand in that space, you will be able to move powerfully, and command higher prices in your business, higher clients, bigger brands, bigger deals, just more connections. All type of things really come from how you're presenting yourself as a boss. And I do believe that you want to look your best, and so definitely take some time to invest in your presence, whether that's online or in person. And start small. Buy the starter kit. It definitely get you on the map. How you all can connect with me. I am Jasie Style. You can find me on my website, jasiestyle.com. Also on Instagram, I'm Hey Jasie, HeyJasie. And yeah, you connect with me on there. I'm also on LinkedIn, Jasie Style as well. Aside from that, did I miss something? Look, aside from that, I think those were the two things. How you can connect
I,
with me, and my like final parting words.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think we connected on LinkedIn, so I'm happy that we did connect. This was a very educational conversation that we had, and hopefully, you guys who are listening got a lot out of this conversation. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to go back and listen to some of our previous episodes. And remember that we drop a new episode every single week. All right. And until next time, guys, remember, I rock, you rock, we all rock, and we'll talk to you soon.